year. So my students use it heavily. Everyone joining us today is well versed with College Board's SAT. I'm sure many of you have either recommended the SAT to your students, have provided SAT service as a mentorship, or have played an integral role in administering the exam as SAT coordinators. The SAT has long been a trusted measure of college readiness and its evolving role in shaping admissions processes globally. And now, increasingly in India, highlights its relevance and adaptability. Since its inception in 1926, and rightly put forth, as Dr. Max said, he has also used SAT and his kids has also used SAT, and he's going to be, sharing his personal stories. The SAT has undergone significant evolution, adapting to changing global educational trends and societal needs. Currently, you will be surprised to know that more than 2 billion students take the SAT at more than 2,000 SAT test centers in over 180 countries. Wow. AP exams were taken by students in over 140 countries and 450 plus universities in nearly 70 other countries reported that they accept the SAT for admissions. In recent years, the acceptance of SAT scores by premier Indian universities has been steadily increasing, marking a notable shift in the higher education landscape in India. Over 50 Indian universities now recognize SAT scores as part of their admissions process, including several prestigious institutions represented in today's session. Many private institutions have embraced the SAT as a key component of their admissions criteria, and this trend is expected to grow as more universities recognize its value in assessing students' readiness for college. On this note, I am delighted to have with me Akshay Kadam from College Board, who works closely with universities across South and Central Asia. Over to you, Akshay.
Hey, hi Shima. Hello everyone. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot for joining. Thank you TUC for making this happen. And I'm gearing up for a great conversation now. Let me start with what I'm supposed to do. I'll first introduce all the key speakers, and then I have the first question to put it up here. But I'll be co-hosting this with Ashima. So Ashima will be coming in when she has a question for one of the speakers. So let me just get started. So my first speaker is Dr. Simon Mack. He's the founding vice chancellor of Universal AI University. He's also the first American vice chancellor of an Indian university. Then we have Mr. Parth Sarvate from Ahmedabad University. He's the director of UG admissions and financial aid there. We have Mr. Harsh Ranjan Sinha. He's currently the deputy director and head of admissions. Then we have Ms. Devanshi Thukral. She is the vice president of marketing and admissions at Bennett University. Then we have Mr. Arpit Survasti. He's the vice president of marketing and admissions at Bennett University. And we have Mr. Arpit Survasti. A lot of names and designation, but I'm very sure that all of you know all of them. But I was supposed to do this, and just in case it helps. So I think I did an okay job. But then let me start with what I'm supposed to do now here on. So let me first start with Dr. Mack. Dr. Mack, my first question will be directed to you, and we wanted to know you. We wanted to know more a little bit about you. And to start with, my question is as follows: that as the vice chancellor of Universal AI University, how do you see the role of SAT in shaping the future of admissions in the university like yours, especially in a country like India where traditional exams dominate in a sense? And what has been your strategy in introducing SAT to your students, to the faculty, and to the university as a whole? Over to you, Dr. Mack.
All right, thank you very much. For those of you who are zooming in, again, my name is Dr. Simon Mack. I'm the founding vice chancellor at Universal AI University here in Mumbai. That we are the first university completely dedicated to artificial intelligence. And only 5 months ago, I moved here with my family from Dallas, Texas, to help start up this very fascinating, innovative university. So what I want to start with is I think everybody here would be interested in hearing what's going on from my experience with the SAT, and that will help answer my perspective. 5 months into India. First, let me say that I foresee the role of the SAT in India really accelerating into a brand. And here's what I mean. So, as Ashima ma'am said, the SAT started back in the 1920s. So it's been around a long time. I took the SAT not in 1920, okay, but I went through, the high school, the PSAT, right? The PSAT, the SAT. I went through all of that. And the SAT was the number one standardized test that helped me get into MIT in Boston as a fresher. All right. Then I had all my children take the SAT as well. And so my family has been connected with the SAT for many years. On top of that, we took all the achievement tests. So College Board used to have all these achievement tests, and then now we have AP exams. So I'm a typical Asian family. We took all the exams. All right. So here's what's happened in America. Because of COVID, many schools in America made the SAT optional. All right. I don't know if that happened here in India, but many schools made the SAT optional in America. When COVID passed, many schools continued to keep the SAT optional. And here's what happened. One school said, no, we need to make the SAT mandatory because we believe it is critical for our university situation. And that school was MIT. So MIT is the only major university that's come out and said, we are still making the SAT mandatory. Now, at my university in Dallas, Texas, it's called SMU. It's the number one private university in Dallas. What we did was we did what many of the other universities did is we made SAT optional. So here's what that ended up resulting in. It resulted in students who submitted their SAT scores, they were the toppers. They were the toppers from their schools. And so what that did was that ended up driving up average SAT scores. And then also in America, we do something called super scoring. All right. In other words, we take your best scores and we combine the two. And so that made the scores even higher. And so what's happened in America now is very interesting. If you tell people you took the SAT, it is immediately assumed you're a topper. So the brand of the SAT in America has sort of taken this turn that it's now, because it's no longer mandatory in many schools, it's now sort of a standard to tell people that you are a topper from your university. So that's very interesting. That's what's happened. So I suspect that is also going to happen here in India if it's not a mandatory exam. At my university, Universal AI University, prior to the university forming, we were Universal Business School. So we've been taking the SAT from the start. All right. And while many people think about SAT as a tool to go to America, right, to apply to American schools, I am using SAT so that Americans can come to India, so that Americans can come to India and they look at us based on our SAT scores, right? They look at us, the caliber of the university based on our average SAT scores. And my vision is to have American students coming to UAI at least for 1 or 2 years and then going back to their home school, and that the SAT will be a tool that they use to make the decision to come to India and to come to Universal AI. So that's a little bit of my thinking, a little bit about my background, and a little bit of how we see SAT being used at Universal AI for Indian students to apply, but also for American students to apply as well.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mac. That was really insightful, really personalized answer. And thank you so much for bringing the US perspective. I think that makes a lot of sense. And I think uh, over to you, Ashima. We'll move to the next question, please.
Thanks, Akshay. I think I completely resonate with what he said. And from a US perspective, it's quite popular, but it's also, has an increasing popularity in India. And my next question at this point rightly fits, Harsh, over to you from OP Jindal University. How does SET fit into Jindal's admission process? Do you see any benefits in offering it as an alternative, especially for students seeking a global learning experience?
Hi, everyone. Good evening once again. Thank you, Ashima. This is uh, primarily a very, very relevant question for a university like OP Jindal, where the global is in the word of our name, is in the name of itself. So, couple of things which I really like about SAT. One is the multiple attempts students get, because in a country, Akshay rightly put across, which is heavily uh, dominated by local examination or Indian national examinations, SAT comes very handy for students, not only in terms of giving it multiple attempts in a year, plus the best part about SAT, which I liked when I gone through the curriculum and I've seen as far as I can, is the level of difficulties is not same. It is unlike other examination where all the questions are of same difficulty level, which is not actually doing justice to students, because everyone is coming with different skills and level of competencies they have. So the best part is that every question you answer, every question you attempt is based on the way you have answered the previous question. So that kind of do justice to your understanding of a subject. How it is helping us, what I'm seeing, it's been 3 years I'm working as part of the admissions of OP Jindal Global University. I have seen the number of SAT takers applying to our universities increasing every year. Fine. And that's a very good sign, because not only it gives us an opportunity to interact with students who are applying to not only international institutions, but bringing that level of competencies to our universities as well. Fine. That's is something which gives me a perspective why SAT is helping us. And of course, students coming with SAT score also saves themselves from applying to other examinations. And if I talk about our internal home proctored scholastic aptitude test, which we do, that's an alternative to that. So that also helps students not writing multiple examinations. Fine. So that's what I feel, that SAT is actually bringing a lot of value to institutions like us and also to students.
It's very interesting to see, Harsh, that you're talking about SAT and you're keeping it at a high level. But just to ask, and from a school counselor's perspective, do you
Please.
think that universities will probably in the future eliminate their own exams and just go ahead with SAT because it's serving the purpose? Let's put it that way.
Okay, I don't see, I'll be very honest in answering this, because I don't see that this happening in near future. It will take some time, because India is not something, India is not a country which is very adaptive to one sort of examination. Even if you think about, for example, look for uh, an examination which takes student for management. People do write, despite the fact that CAT is one examination which is accepted by almost every institution in the country. Students still write various other examination, and that will continue to happen in a country like India. But yes, as I said, if a institution like Jindal, where the number of where the percentage of students applying through SAT is increasing, I see a positive trend.
Good to know
Okay.
for us school counselors. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Harsh, for bringing that perspective. Actually, me and Harsh have had a couple of conversations which were very, I mean, that comes from experience, and this was a very, very insightful, honestly, answer to the question. I'll move to the next question. I would like to ask Arpit about basically Kriya University placing a strong emphasis on interdisciplinary learning. So Arpit, for setting global standards, how do you see it supporting Kriya University's admission?
So, see, your questions has almost two parts now. One is interdisciplinarity at Kriya, and the another is how
Right.
SAT is helping us. See, one thing, and even when I'll speak, I'll answer the question also which came in the chat box. So, SAT contributes to our maximum number of applications. That is one. If I just share a recent experience that we have just created, last month we released our merit list of the round one. In the round one merit list, out of, if I say top 25 students of my merit list, top 20 came from SAT. Okay, and so the number we take is like we accept 1380 plus from SAT. Okay, now while our exam is again reading, writing, and mathematics is there, and in SAT it is also there. So we do get these students who are good at reading and writing. At least specific mathematics is fine. We don't put much emphasis on mathematics in our test because humanities student also come for the liberal arts programs. But keeping a bar of 1380 is a good score, and that's how again we get a good quality candidates from SAT. The second thing is someone asked here in the chat box. I'll answer that first. That if we prefer SAT student or the student who will take our own exam, so it doesn't matter what exam you're coming from. Okay, as I said, if specific to Kriya, we create a merit list. Merit list again, it depends on your marks. If someone may have some marks in our exam, or someone may have marks from the SAT, and those are all normalized at one place, and then finally a merit list is being prepared. Now, when you're talking about the interdisciplinarity, Akshay, so how Kriya works is, and again, I would say the exams like SAT helps us is we do not differentiate at the entry level for the students who are coming from which domain. So it doesn't matter you're coming from arts, commerce, or sciences. You come in Kriya as one. So even you don't have to declare your major or what you want to do in first year. So you declare it after 3 trimesters. So one thing is, I think Professor Simon may agree. Right now, Kriya is the only university in India which is working on the trimester model. We don't have a semester or a yearly model. So that's the model which is mostly American universities follow. So at our place, you declare your major after the 3 trimester, that is after the first year. Now, a student coming from physics can also study literature and arts, and a student coming from the humanities can also study physics at Kriya. So that's how we follow the interdisciplinarity model, where we offer the every trimester we offer almost 150 courses, and these courses ranges from interdisciplinary courses like biomimicry or bioinformatics or astrophysics or quantum physics and all such kind of combinations of courses, where a person you will find in a class of bioinformatics coming from a 12th or 11th class background of history or political science. It's very likely in Kriya. So these kind of students, how we do this scrutiny. We can't do this scrutiny based on their marks in 12th class, and that's how we don't even count that. So we only count the entrance exams marks and the personal interview marks. So their SAT helps us. The marks, especially in the reading and writing part of SAT, also helps us. In our another program of integrated MBA, which is BBA plus MBA 5 years program, there we again accept SAT with 1380 marks, but there we have a sectional cutoff. So, because in that program, we need some mathematical aptitude. So, we take a sectional cutoff of 600 plus in mathematics for integrated MBA program. So there also we accept SAT. And again, if I talk about my recent round one, which we wind up for the integrated MBA, a good number of applicants coming from SAT exam only. Even so, because if you have given SAT, you don't have to give our own Kriya's entrance exam. And that shift, we are clearly seeing that it's a good number of percentage of the students who are not giving their own entrance exam and coming from SAT only.
Thank you so much, Arpit. Thank you for giving out the cutoff to start with, because I would it's a good fact to share here. I would uh, love or invite other universities also to share that. An interesting fact around that point is that the global SAT average score is approximately around 1100. This is from the stats that I recently visited. But the India average score for SAT is 1200, which is much higher than what you see globally. So I think that way we are also setting standards. The Indian students are making sure that they are setting up higher standards, and that was an interesting take. So I think Harsh had something to add to this. Harsh, please
Exactly.
take
I
over.
mean, I'll second to what Arpit said. when especially the kind of institutions, I mean, all we are sitting here, the way we take students has become very interdisciplinary. Fine. And SAT plays a very, very important role in getting such kind of students who are aligned with the kind of education ecosystem universities like KRIA, JGU, and some other institutions have created for students. Those days are gone when you are part of a history department in a public university and you just study history for whatever time span you have in the institution, and just next to you you have maybe a psychology department, and you cannot even knock the door that I have an interest in psychology. Can I also study psychology? Fine. There, if a student is coming with a SAT score, and they understand that if they are going in an institution with a SAT score and the kind of background they will come from, they know the institution will offer them the same level of freedom. They'll be able to mix science with humanities, commerce with management. All these things will continue to happen, and that's what and that's how it helps us also to take the kind of student we want to take in our university, and especially with institution like OP Jindal Global University with like more than 500 international partnerships, more than 400 cross electives, which is for students to choose when they are becoming part of the institution. So that's what I wanted to add.
Rightly said, and somebody actually pointed out why just when SAT is just doing English and mathematics, what's different? So just to answer that, SAT is not just evaluating on the basis of English and mathematics. And correct me if I'm wrong, Akshay, it's actually inferencing, comprehension, problem solving, critical thinking, logical reasoning, a lot of other things as well, in parts of English as well as in mathematics. On that note, Parth, I'd say, first of all, one of the most popular universities at Legacy, and not just Legacy, probably all around India, I would say. And Ahmedabad University was one of the first institutions to adopt the SAT for admissions and is also a founding member of the Indian Global Alliance, right? Given this, how does SAT fit into Ahmedabad University's admission process, and how do you see it enhancing the university's appeal to students seeking a global education?
Thank you very much, Ashima, and thanks to Akshay, to College Board, and to TOC. Uh, you know, I think the panelists have said many, many interesting things already. I'll say that, see, I think the key for us to start accepting SAT very early was because we were looking for students who are thinking globally. Harsh also mentioned this, Arpit mentioned this. So idea is that we're looking for students who think globally, who are well prepared, who believe in interdisciplinarity. Okay, and the SAT also gives us a fair understanding of the capability, reading capability, writing capability, as well as the math, comprehension, math, all of these things, which are important for us to understand whether the student can work hard or not. I think, there's a lot of conversation always about what does a exam really bring to a university. And while we are optional for SAT, because, as Harsh and Arpit also said, that in India, there are many other exams as well that are taken. Um, the interesting thing is we are looking for students who can work hard. So we look at 10th and 12th, and if they've taken the SATs or any other exam and they've done well, we give them an advantage. And the reason we give them an advantage is because it's purely showing us that they are willing to work hard and they're focusing on a particular objective and they're doing well in that. So that's the advantage that it gives us. And we also realize over a period of time that it is crucial for success, because when they come in, and again, as Arpit said, they can come in and study different things. We allow students to change majors all the way up to 2 years, and they can also do different minors. They can, and we have an engineering school, we have an management school, we have a arts and sciences school. And so students come from different domains and they also explore different domains. And there, I think the reading and comprehension and math is a critical element that is required for whatever domain that they're going to study. And that's where the SAT fits in very well. So while we do look at students who come in with just the 10th and the 12th, students that come in with SAT, we, seek them out and we look at them and look at their profile. And of course, it contributes to an overall picture of their profile. We don't only select. So, a good question that a lot of people ask is, what's the cutoff? So we don't have a cutoff. And the reason is that, students take a lot of tests and sometimes they don't do well in tests. And therefore, we give them the benefit of doubt by saying, okay, if you've done well in any test or you've done well in other parts of your life, maybe you're a great soccer player, or you're a, very good singer, or you've done something for many years, practice something. All of these things contribute to understanding the student better. So like an American university, we actually look at entire portfolio of things. And of course, one part of that is their ability to take examinations, doing well in it. And as I said, it just shows us that they're hardworking students. We also, think that the adaptive nature of SATs is very valuable, because often, you know, um, and I remember a story from when I was actually talking about SATs and GREs to some students, and I said the advantage of the SATs and the GREs is you don't have to get everything right. You can get a few questions wrong and still get a very good score. So that's a very big advantage, because we are a country that relies so much on rote memorization, which is how the 12th is taken, which is how many other exams are built around. So SAT is not really about rote memorization. It's about your ability to solve a series of questions over a period of time, which gives you the opportunity to actually understand what's the level of the student. So that really helps us as a university to understand whether the student has the capability to, is doing well consistently, and their global credentials, which is what we are looking for. And we found over the last few years, since we've taken these scores, that students have done really well. So there are students who've gone on, finished 5-year programs, integrated programs at Ahmedabad University, and gone on to do a PhD at University of Buffalo. There's a student who's gone on to do MBA in Canada. There's a student who's gone to do her masters in physics at University of Cologne in Germany. So these are students also who, after finishing at Ahmedabad University, also have a aspiration to go study abroad. And even though at the undergraduate level they still chose an Indian university, their desire to go study abroad remains. So that's also a very good thing that helps us to understand that these are students who want to contribute and want to invest in themselves, because I think this is a very important idea for us, that students must be willing to invest in ourselves, in themselves. We actually do not want to take students who think the university is a place where you go and enjoy yourself, like the Bollywood college stories. This is a very academic place, and I think the SAT really fits in well there.
Amazing. Part of the same note, like you said, in India, students take a number of exams, and I think somebody just mentioned also for your engineering programs, you accept JE and state CET. Do you also accept SAT in the holistic,
Yeah.
assessing of the applications for engineering
Yeah.
programs?
Now, we've been trying for a number of years. Engineering programs are still controlled by the state government, by the All India Council for Technical Education. And we have been, trying to have a conversation with them to say that can we use the SATs. Also, I think some of the faculty members still do not believe that the preparation uh, is fully
Towards a technical program per
yeah,
se.
because it's a technical program, are these students fully prepared or not? But I think that's a conversation that we're continuing to have. We've also talked about AP courses, but I think it'll take a little more time for us to convince the government to allow us to use the SATs for the engineering program. This is a big thing for us. We're really working hard on this.
Amazing. My next question to everyone, and this is a very interesting thing for all of us to know. Do you use SAT for merit-based scholarships as well?
Yes, we do use SATs for merit-based scholarships, but I think there also it's a holistic approach. So we do look at their overall scores, and as I said, if they've done better than their 12th, suppose they've not done well in their 12th, but have done better in the SATs, they do have a chance to get a scholarship.
Amazing. Other universities, Harsh.
Yes, of course. And I will second to what Mr. Parth said. SAT is one part of the scholarship decision-making process. And of course, their examination score of their class 12th, and we do have a personal interaction process also for taking student. That also becomes a part, their extracurricular activities. So it's a holistic process where everything goes into calculator, and then we finally get a score, and accordingly scholarships are awarded. But
Amazing.
yes.
Great, great. Good to know.
Ashima, I'll just I have one question for another uh, one university who has been a member of India Global Alliance for a long time. They have also one of the founding members. So I would like to ask this question to Hitanshi. Bennett University has been accepting SAT for a long time now. So how does it fit into your marketing strategy or the outreach strategy, and what has been the impact on when you go with an SAT score? Because we've had insights in terms of the process, but I would say how do the students perceive when you go out with such a strategy?
Thank you so much, Akshay. And it
Yeah.
sometimes becomes very difficult, when your fellow colleagues have spoken so much. So at times you get less of the content to talk about. But never mind, I'll take this platform once again to thanks. And I must congratulate College Board for the immense 2 billion students applying for SAT. So that's amazing. And it actually gives us also a kind of a motivation to add more of the SAT allied alliance in the coming time in the various stages. So I know, as we all know, sitting here, the competition is rising every day. Students want the admission in top institutions. So it is becoming very difficult. So what I always have seen that SAT has always complemented towards the holistic admission approach, just not at Bennett, but I must say my fellow colleagues will agree to the worldwide. So it actually complements to the entire admission and a marketing strategy approach, because we at Bennett University are very clear that we are looking for diversity in admissions. So for me, getting these students from the various thought processes, various groups, various lingos. So SAT is a fantastic platform where I get these students with different thought processes, different countries. Plus, Akshay, it gives me immense proud to share that just last week only we are being rated by NAC and we have scored A plus rank. So now it has given us a platform to open up our doors for the global programs. So today morning itself, we have launched our global programs in BTech, BBAs, liberal arts, and our media programs. So this global program is a fantastic platform which will help my SAT scored students to apply now more with Bennett universities. So they have a chance to taste the flavor for both these areas and both the countries, I must say. So 2 years in India, 2 years maybe in US, UK, Australia, Canada, wherever they look forward for. Just to add here, we very proudly say that we are part of 120 international universities with which our relations are there, and we are doing a lot of exchange, credit, immersion, winter, a lot of different programs. So now after this A plus and after the onboarding of study abroad with us, now we feel that SAT is actually going to bring a shift in my marketing strategy also. So that's how I will get the students with, of course, a different critical mindset. Mathematics is very, very key component for my lot of programs, especially my liberal arts program. And of course, my BA programs and a BBA programs. And of course, in coming time, we are launching a new school, which is a design school. So we are looking forward for all such students, those who are coming with different analytical bent of mind also. So this is the time when I feel that SAT was a time, and we have been, as we all know, that it's a long relation with SAT. We give scholarships to the student based on the scores. So we have these scores with us from 1200 to 1500. We have different slabs where the students can apply to us. So from 10% to 50% scholarship is given to a student if you come with a SAT score under various programs. And very surprisingly, we are also a heavy engineering based university. So I have 12,000 students studying at my campus, out of which 8,000 are majorly for the engineering, different engineering and technology programs, and maximum SAT scorers are studying in these programs. and they are doing fantastically well. I'll not say, I will not love to compare here, Akshay, that the students coming with the SAT score are more beautified or more applying to here and there. But yes, they are equally fantastic well and adding a flavor to the entire cohort which is studying at Bennett University. So I really feel that this entire your effort and my fellow colleagues' effort to accept the SAT more and more is actually going to give the universities a kind of a university collaborations, So various multiple attempts, 2000 test centers, and a lot of your efforts now coming to make SAT a popular examination will slowly, like Parth was saying, it's becoming tough to add as an eligibility. For us also, it's tough to add to the eligibility.
Right.
But yes, to motivate these students, to give them the assurance that just not abroad, but India also values you if you give this global exam. We always love to give these scholarships to these students. And these are very transparent, openly written on the website, on each program at all the places. So, with this, I move back to you, Akshay, with saying that SAT has always given me a beauty to my cohort with diversity in the admission. So, my punchline for SAT is always in I love SAT because it gave diversity to Bennett University. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks. Very, very beautifully put. Thank you so much. I think Bhakti, you had something to add to this, I'm sure.
I don't have something to add. I have something to ask, to be
Okay.
very honest,
Okay.
because I think while we've spoken about the impact of SAT on diversity and bringing in students who are academically, meritorious as a result of giving their SATs, there's been a whole conversation in North America, the OG of SAT, around access and its impact on SAT results. And I see that there is obviously, I mean, we'd be lying to ourselves if we don't acknowledge the fact that there's a certain segment of universities on this conversation, right? That cater to a certain socioeconomic strata if you remove the scholarship bit of it, right? Because you're all expensive universities, you're private universities. Um, in terms of impact on marketing, do you think that SATs or the association with College Board and SATs gives your universities an edge to also somewhere justify that global perspective or that global positioning? Um, I mean, and how does that play out into conversations with students, if it does? Also, do you think it impacts the view of counselors now in recommendations? Do you think it's giving you an edge when counselors are recommending universities? Is it giving you an edge, or it's just another aspect of student admissions? And let's just sort of be candid, honest, because we can have all the sugar coated conversations in the world possible, but the idea is for us to also for us to address some of these conversations. So access is an issue in India, as much as even more in India than maybe North America sometimes. But how does that impact the kind of student that you're attracting? Because let's be honest, a student from Jabalpur in a CBSE or state board school is not giving an SAT exam. How is this impact happening, and how does that play into also your inclusivity narrative? Anyone would like to go for it?
I can maybe jump in. I completely agree, Bhakti. It's a very tough one, and I think we just think that it's an added advantage if students who are taking the SAT also have an opportunity to apply to Indian universities, because
Yeah.
they are primarily looking to apply to universities abroad. And of course, some of them also think that the Indian universities can be a backup option. That said, about 65% of our students actually come from CBSE schools. So a majority of the students who are applying to us are coming from CBSE schools. Very few of them take the SATs. And that is why, we actually do not require them to take any exam. So apart from the 10th and the 12th, if they haven't taken any other exam, we don't ask them to take any other Indian exam either, but they can report, the CUET or JEE or a NEET or any other exam, really. Because as I was mentioning, more than the marks itself, our focus is on trying to figure out if that exam has helped contribute to the student to be a thinking student. Have they worked hard? Have they made an effort towards doing well on that exam? And of course, the SATs help because then we also, in a way, are indicating to students who are taking the SATs that this is a university that also fulfills that particular group, which is looking for liberal interdisciplinary education in India. Because often, outreach can only reach so many schools. When we do take the SATs, there is a belief also that this is a university which is, a little different, and that helps. So that's my honest answer. So,
Absolutely. I think SAT just helps with the reverse inclusivity argument, where you're saying, okay, inclusivity is not just about students who cannot afford to go to private universities, but also students who are aspiring to go abroad. And it's a huge pillar in the whole India as a global study destination conversation, because when universities start accepting SATs, it immediately positions them as global thought leaders. So I do think it helps there as well.
And Bhakti,
Yeah.
so I'll also agree with your point that the universities sitting here are a little premium university, we are little expensive universities. So we also know that the student is coming from SAT or has given SAT, so it also belongs to a premium category. As you know that everyone doesn't have access to this kind of exam. Now when we see that the kind of students we are getting, like a score of 1560, 1570 in SAT, it also helps us to understand that okay, these are the students who can understand what kind of programs we offer. So you go to a tier 2 or tier 3 town, and where you talk about interdisciplinarity, you talk about multidisciplinarity courses, tell them that oh, you don't have to choose in anything in first year. So they don't even understand the concept. Okay, and these students, because for sure, if they are preparing for SAT, they are planning something, they want to go to abroad for some universities. And so they also understand what is the liberal education model. They also understand even the major minor thing, because it's even a taboo that, oh, what is major minor? You go to even good schools in a good city, they will not even understand what is this. So at least these are the students who know this model, and they adapt with us in the campus. When they come to study, they know okay, how this first year of foundation year is going to be, and how different kind of programs I'll be studying. So I would say if even all of us sitting here would love to have more and more numbers coming from these kind of tests.
Yeah, Bhakti, let me add, just to add to the Arpit and of course your conversation. You are very true and very candid that yes, to date, Indian universities were actually attracting these stats students just because by offering the discounts and scholarships and all. Because that was the only way, because till then, the Indian government puts any stamping on it that yes, it's also a kind of a national test, which can be a standardized test, at least for some of the programs. It becomes very difficult for the UGC and other autonomous universities also to take it as an eligibility criteria. So till then, it will not become the eligibility criteria. Till then, it will be only a kind of a marketing highlight for all of us. So I think more or more the students start applying for the SAT. Today's 2 billion, maybe the Indian vertical and the Indian landscape, the moment it increases, Indian government will also get the push that yes, this is the time when I should actually think of making this test, maybe standardized, maybe like for design, we have one standard exam. So maybe this kind of a program can talk about liberal arts, because that talks about interdisciplinary, intradisciplinary. At Bennett University, we even have multiple entry and multiple exit. We also offer the credit based systems.
Yeah.
We are doing the OBC also, so everything is aligned with what is required, because that's how the students are being tuned, being trained, and this is how the Gen Z has been learning. So now
Yeah.
maybe the next beta which is coming up, it might come up with a different thought, but the Gen Z has been trained and been nurtured and been tuned as per this entire thought process. So I think slowly this 2 billion once becomes 3 billion and more Indian takers are there. I think then, Bhakti, what you were trying to say, I could resonate that you're feeling. I'm sure we all will be contributing as a part of university back to it.
I
Thank you.
don't mean to hijack this conversation in this direction at all, but I have to say one thing, because I think it'll be very unfair to College Board and to SAT. While accepting SATs as an Indian university may be a great marketing tool, but it's also a great best fit student screening tool, because students who give their SATs are, like Arpit said, like Parth said, display certain inclinations or agency to be able to afford and understand and be receptive to the kind of education that Indian liberal arts universities or Indian private universities that are progressive are offering, because it is also a mindset issue. And therefore, it's not just about liberal arts, it's also STEM universities, whether it's Plaksha is a liberal sciences school, for example. I think it also helps with that kind of screening. So I just wanted to make sure that we're not at all saying that SATs are a marketing tool only. Yes, Harsh, and Dr. Mack, you also had your hand up, and I'm going to shut up now.
Yes, no, it's perfectly got it. See,
So,
Bhakti, you
so
rightly
real
said,
quick,
and all of the.
I want to
Okay.
touch upon a couple of things from the previous comment. Two things. One is regarding scholarships and your SAT score. Right now in America, I didn't even know this, but when my children took the SAT, immediately in the mail, they got job offers for scholarships just based on their score. All right, and they were bombarded with the marketing as such. So that's now become a standard marketing tool. SAT score equals a certain amount of scholarship. And so I can certainly see India moving in that direction. The second thing I want to say is, Bhakti, what you just said. So I actually, when I was in Dallas, I worked for the MIT admissions alumni office. I was an interviewer. So I interviewed 12 standard students for MIT. And one of the things that we talked about all the time is fit. Because the worst thing you can do is to admit somebody at MIT and they flunk out and they fail, right? That is horrible for the child, for the parents, the whole thing. And so you're absolutely right that the SAT is one of the tools to help screen. And then there are other things as well that we should look at holistically. And so, I think that's one of the things that we're trying to do at Universal AI is we're trying to find students who have an interest in AI. That's what we're all about. And if you come here and you wanted to be a Bollywood actor, for example, nothing wrong with that. We're probably not the right fit for you. And so I think the SAT can help screen out for them. The AP exams, we also take AP exams. And so that also helps screen those out too, because at the end of the day, we want the best fit for each student so that they can have the best experience and therefore contribute to India and wherever else they go. So I wanted to just talk about what Hatanshi said and also what Bhakti said.
Okay. Yeah. I hope I'm audible because I
Yes,
think
Harsh.
I was. Okay.
Yeah.
See, SAT exactly providing what we had been looking for quite some years now. If I talk about OP Jindal, 15 years back when we started this university, we started talking the idea of interdisciplinarity and global education in this country. Fine. And 2020, when national education policy came into existence, it also started talking about the interdisciplinarity, where you have multiple exit points, where you can have a credit bank, you can do one degree from one university, another from another university, and then graduate as liberal arts and humanities kind of model. Here, I'll have a request from the counselors, all who are here. See, we all discussed that SAT is a common examination which is accepted by almost all leading universities in the country and abroad. If the students are explained at very initial start of their maybe preparation for applying to universities that okay, if you are writing SAT examination, you will be saved from the hassle of writing one examination for Jindal, one examination for Kriya, one examination for maybe Bennett, and for other universities as well. So there, the role of counselor also becomes very important. And another thing which is also, I'm sure, helping SAT in a matter that whenever a student is visiting one of our websites, they are seeing SAT as one of the examination accepted by that university. So that also prompts a student, okay, I have SAT, and then he or she visits another university. There also they see SAT as one of the component of taking admission in this university. So that also plays a kind of a role in a student's mind to look towards that. Fine. So together we'll have to actually and rightly put across that unlike engineering or unlike design, we don't have a central examination in our country other than CUET, who really focuses on liberal arts and the kind of model which we have in the institutions we all are representing today. So that's what I'll add, that SAT is going to be important and going to be big in coming years with India is also moving towards interdisciplinarity with the national education policy coming in picture.
Great, thank you so much, Harsh. And
Thank you,
I'd like to go back and point out one more thing that Dr. Max said. They're the first university to actually give AP credits, and I would definitely want to know what was your thought behind implementing, and how do you see AP credit allocation benefiting students at universities in India?
Sure. So for those of you who are not sure what AP credits in America, just about every topic student takes AP exams. And the way it works, you take an AP exam from the College Board, and then if you score a certain score, 3, 4, 5, you get to place out of certain credits in certain classes. And so basically the AP credit system in America is used as a way to save money. So it's in America, your traditional university is 4 years. You come in there with several AP credits for basic English or mathematics or biology. You can start as a second year student because you have AP credits. It's really one of the reasons. Now, if you decide to stay in a university for 4 years, your first year you don't have to anymore. So what that means is your fourth year, you start taking master's classes. So that's a way for you to save your graduate degree. And so really the AP exam is that mechanism. And so we at Universal AI want to adapt that same thought, that process. And you come in, all right, you come in depending on, for example, whether you want to do 4-year
I'm
BTech
sorry, Dr.
course.
Mac, we can't hear you very well. Is it just me or is it everyone?
No, I think it's for all. Dr. Mac, there's an issue with your audio, I guess.
Oh, okay. And I don't see anything different. Nothing has changed.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
So, okay, not sure where we left, but
Wait,
basically,
it still exists.
yeah, the AP exam is used to help our students benefit. They can either reduce the length of their curriculum, right, at our university, or they can take more advanced classes in place of what they place out of. And so the main thing is to make sure the AP exam matches the module or course that you are currently teaching. And we call it equivalency. Once you have that, and we waive that credit, that class as part of their curriculum. It's very, very popular in America. We're implementing that at Universal AI.
Okay, Dr. Mac, this was a very important question and we sort of missed out quite a bit. I can hear an echo as well. Can anyone else hear it too?
Yeah, Bhakti, there is an echo.
Yes, there's an echo.
You can hear, okay, so I don't hear, everything sounds fine on my end.
Maybe then our
So-
systems.
Dr. Mac, do you want to maybe
Right.
drop out and join in again? Do you think
Yeah, because
that's
so
good?
what we'll do is, Dr. Mac, if you can log out and join in again.
Okay.
We will
okay,
also
let
take
me do
another
that.
question in the meanwhile, because this is a very important conversation around universities now accepting AP credits in India. So please log out and join in again. We'll take another
Okay,
question.
let me log out.
Yes, please. Yeah.
Bhakti,
Go
I'll
ahead.
just say I'll try to put it up what Dr. Mac was just saying. So again, for all the audience, Universal AI is actually the first Indian university to allocate credits to AP exams. So AP exams are advanced placement courses which students take, and what he was quoting is an example in MIT. Students take the AP exams for either to fast track their course, their programs in a certain university. So they get, if they have completed, these are university level exams that are taken when they are in class 11, 12, or even 10 for that matter, which are rigorous exams. So when a student takes this and let's say they go to the MIT and they say, I have a AP calculus core exam that I've taken with a score of, let's say, 3 on a scale of 5, then they have certain eligibility saying a score of 3 is eligible for admissions, and then they evaluate it further. Similarly, Universal AI is the first one to accept AP credits and say that if you have a score of 3, you'll get these many credits for these and these programs in our university. when this was actually a good pivot point for me to talk about APs, because right now College Board is in conversation with several other universities in India, and we are very optimistic about it. And Parth also mentioned about it. I'm sure the universities in India are currently getting students who they are coming to them with an AP score. So we are very optimistic about it, and we look forward to it. I see Dr. Mack is back. Dr.
Hello,
Mack,
hello. Can you hear me better?
yes,
Testing one,
perfect,
two,
perfectly
three.
well. Yeah,
SAT, AP, College Board. Is that everything okay? That sounds good.
that's
So,
perfect, perfectly
so,
fine.
so I do want to say something that you may
Yes,
or may
please.
not know, but in America right now, to support the AP exam in high school, they actually teach courses called AP. So they teach AP English, AP Biology, AP Calculus. So that's how serious AP exams are taken, that the high schools have completely redesigned their curriculum for an AP track. And by the way, the AP track is again considered the topper track. So if you're in the AP track, you are considered a high school topper. And just like what I think I heard Akshay say, it helps you save money. All right, because instead of your 4-year degree, you can get it done in 3 years, but also it allows you to take advanced courses. It allows you to take more courses, uh, basically for the same amount of money, but and then it helps you reduce the cost of your graduate studies. And so there are a lot of different usage for the AP exam. And yes, we're very proud to be the first university to take the AP credit. So hopefully you heard that part.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Mack. And just to add on to that, I think 31st, if I'm not wrong, 31st January is the deadline for school counselors, if there are any, to enroll themselves for the AP courses learning curriculum. I believe, right, Akshay? And just like you, America, even Indian schools are now adapting to the same format of offering AP courses alongside their IB as well as their Cambridge. So we are really looking
Ah,
forward to that. For
okay, yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah. I think we can open it up for the Q&A. So if someone has a question, please feel free to raise your hand and go ahead ask the question. We have all the speakers right here.
Actually, I have a question if I can.
Sure, please.
We're talking about Indian market and we're talking about Indian universities and of course all of those, but we all know that in India we do have a lot of international students as well, you know, US citizens, UK citizens and all. And there are a lot of students who apply to Indian universities as international students. So I just want to propose this question to all. How does accepting the SAT align your university with global admission practices? Do you see this attracting more international students to your institutions?
Can I start?
Yeah.
Yeah. So coming back, yes, of course, there are a lot of citizens, not only just US, Canadian, a lot of, but honestly speaking, what I have seen is, Ashima, they love to take admissions at the school level. While I was working very closely with some IB board schools, I was working with Lancers Convent, GD Goenka, Scottish and all, and the counselors there. So I saw a lot of expats coming and taking the admission at the grade 9, 10th, and 11th, 12th. But if you talk about the higher education, I see a very minimal kind of a percentage where the actually the citizens, maybe if they're Indian origin, and they become the citizen, then they still love to be a part of Indian universities. If I talk about Bennett has such kind of students, those who are Indian origin, but they had citizenship of Singapore or US or Canada and all. But if we talk about the origin from that particular country and coming, I still feel that there are certain reservations that students are not like looking forward for. And this SAT score can actually help us to come up and actually bridge the gap between the university and their thinking. Because as if now their thought process that the university is working there, their teaching style, their methodology is more towards the international barculate kind of a programs, and we at Indian universities still follow more of theory and less of a practical. So that kind of messaging also has to go to these students. As Bhakti was saying, a student sitting on some Jabalpur or Indore or some area, of course she was right. Why? Because see, the students, we are not able to reach, the students. So the SAT kind of a body which holds this college board, if they move to in a kind of an aggression and they give this message, So we as a university will also get kind of an applications coming to us where students are looking forward to bridge that gap and love to stay back in India with us and study at the Indian universities. Over back to you, Akshay and Ashima.
Thank you, Tanshi. I'll just make one point here, which is something I should have mentioned a bit earlier, which is on the accessibility part. We at College Board are also making a lot of attempts to make sure that the exam is accessible to a lot of students. We have something called the India Scholars Program. So this we offer in collaboration with the universities like yours. But there are certain provisions of FCRA and so on. But I won't get into the details. The point being, there are scholarships of the scale of a full tuition fee waiver that College Board is offering currently in collaboration with the universities. And there are also scholarships that are more like for taking the exam based on their income levels. So we look at the financial background of the student, and we do offer exam fee waivers to certain students. So I mean, I'm sure all of you are putting in an effort at from your side to make sure that this is one of the thing. But I just thought this would, if I don't mention it, then that it will just the point won't come up. So I just thought the India Scholars Program is something which the counselors here can look out for. You can Google it. You'll find the information on the net. Because I didn't want to put too much emphasis on that right away. I think we are due to have one more conversation around this, and we'll try to get in a few more international universities, some more Indian universities to talk about SET scholarships and so on. But maybe Bhakti can add to it. We'll try for a similar conversation the next month maybe. But yeah,
Yeah.
that is one thing which you people can look for. Yes.
No, I think it's a very critical aspect of this conversation because India is a price sensitive market. Even for HNI segments, there is a mindset of how much education should cost. And so I think I personally didn't know that there was a tuition waiver, full tuition waiver, for example, with the College Board. I think it'll be very helpful if you can paste that link. Uh, Two links. One, Akshay, on the scholarships, and second on the universities in India that
Sure.
accept SATs and are part of IGA on the TOC group as well as, and we'll repost it on LinkedIn. We'll do all of that.
Sure.
This is important information. I had a question. If anybody wants to add to this answer, please feel free to
I'll add.
before I ask. Yeah.
I'll add, Bhakti. And good
Hey,
evening, everyone.
hi. Welcome.
Hi. So, India Scholars Program, like Akshay rightly mentioned, we have many provisions for the students and the universities here. So, on the financial side, if a student has an annual income of less than 8 lakh of rupees, he gets 90% tuition fee waiver on the a voucher for giving the SAT exam itself. So that is a thing which is very favorable, and many NGOs are taking it, many foundations are taking it, not just them, many schools and students are also applying for these vouchers through Buddy for Study. So Akshay will definitely paste a link here. And then if a student, even if the student has not taken the voucher, but a student has a family income of less than 8 lakh of rupees, a student has taken the SAT and got a score of 1300 plus, the student becomes eligible for 100% tuition fee waiver in select universities in India. So that's a great thing with the partnership of universities. We are giving it to students, and every year we are giving to about 15 to 20 students in India this 100% tuition fee waiver. Secondly, if a student has an annual income of between 8 to 15 lakh of rupees per annum, then they get 50% voucher for the exam fee. So that's how the India Scholars Program operates, but we'll definitely paste the links here, and we'll also shoot an email post this thing. Thank you, Bharti.
Great, Meenakshi.
Meenakshi,
Thanks.
Thank you,
It was a
Meenakshi.
great insight, I
sorry, so I
must
have to say this.
congratulate. Yeah.
While you're saying this, there's a question or a comment on the chat. It says, great program. Request you to stop keep raising the AP cost every year in general. Just to feedback, people from middle class families feel pinched, Anu says. So any comments on that? I know it's not
Comments
entirely
on that, but feedback taken. Thank you so much, and
feedback
we'll
taken.
also pass on the feedback. Thank you.
Yes, Parth, you were saying
No,
something.
I was just saying it's not fair to only College Board. I think it's also fair to all the universities here.
Yeah. Fair enough. Okay, last question from me. Do you see when you accept students with an SAT score on the basis of an SAT score or not? Do you have metrics as universities to map their academic performance through university once they've come in? So do you see generally any trends on students with SAT scores who've gotten admission, who've done better perhaps academically? Is there any impact on academic performance in university or not? Or there's no data at this point?
There is some data, but as I said, it's a very difficult one, I think, to sort of prove definitely a causality. That said, I'll say they're better at coping with a university where you need to read and write yourself, because that's a critical concern right now. A lot of students in regular universities, they're not expected to read before coming to the class. Whereas in liberal institutions, there is a requirement that you not just attend a lot of subjects and I mean your core classes, but you also need to read a lot of material. That's where I think the SAT really helps. And therefore, they eventually end up doing well as well. But I don't know whether there's a full causality, because I think the numbers of students who are still taking the SATs and joining Indian universities still remains a small number. We've had a large number joining, but if I compare it to the overall cohort that's joining, it's still a small number. As I said, 65% comes from CBSE, and maybe very few, 1 or 2% of the CBSE students take SATs. A lot more IB students take SATs because their ambition or aspiration is to also apply to universities abroad, and then they make a cost benefit analysis whether they should do undergrad in India and then think of doing a master's in the US, and that's where it gives them an advantage. But they do try, and with changing trends in higher education in the world, with Canada reducing number of Indian students, Australia reducing in number of Indian students, this trend is likely to increase.
Yeah, and I'll just add that part that Harsh also mentioned that the counselors here can do this service to us and to them and to the students. When they counsel the students early on, they can mention it to them, like one test, many universities. So you give the SAT once, and then you can send the scores to the universities together at one place.
And I'll also add one point. This is for the college board team who may be operating in countries like UAE or the Middle East. See, from where a lot of migration happens towards the American and other European countries, especially London, Canada. And with we rightly discussed just a couple of seconds back that with many countries reducing the number of students they are taking from Asian countries. So if they, I mean, the college board team, I mean, operating in those countries are also educating children, the kind of universities operational system which are more towards liberal arts and humanities and is offering the same level of education which students were earlier looking for. And that's the reason why so much of travel started happening from India to other countries, because they were getting something which they were not getting in India. And fine. And now the institutions which we all are sitting here right now have started offering similar or a better level of education. And that's how the travel is reducing. And that we saw in COVID also. Fine.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure most of the institutions sitting here were benefited in COVID years when the students were not able to travel. And then with Russia, Ukraine, and Palestine wars happening, I mean, this all played a role. So we'll have to together actually start discussing how to really go down to the deeper level and make these entrance examinations as part of the process of their upbringing. And that once they start applying, once they start thinking of applying, they take examination like SAT as one of the premium examination.
Thank you for the feedback, Harsh, and this suggestion also. And yeah, great thought. In fact, Flame University was there in MENA Forum last year, and we plan to have delegations not just to UAE, but across Central Asia and other South Asian countries also. Patti, sorry, you were saying something.
No, not at all. I'm saying we are 9 minutes over time. I understand that everyone has a hard stop. We'll take the last question, maybe Akshay and Ashima from Ankit, and end the session. Is that okay with everyone?
Sounds good.
Yeah, go ahead, Ankit.
Ankit.
Yeah, hello everyone. My question is related to SET. The way Indian institutions are accepting SET, so I just wanted to hear a few lines specifically from the institutions who are offering engineering, like Universal, Ahmedabad University, and Bennett. That what difference you find when somebody is appearing for SET and applying to your institution, and somebody is coming through the old pattern of appearing through JEE mains or the state level CET exams. So, what is the difference among the student candidature and how diversified they are, how equipped they are with the new age skill sets?
Ankit, I'll just take first to answer on this question. See, for us, as I said, that yes, surprisingly, we have the students, those who have the SAT score, they are applying to the engineering programs. But parallelly, what I have seen and what my data says is that along with the SAT, they are also giving the JEE exam as well. So as if now, I don't have much of data to give back you the answers specifically related to Bennett, because we have these students, those who have given the JEE as well, and they were giving the SAT as well. So that percent is very, very minimal. So to make the differentiation, that's how I previously also said. So I'm not making any difference as if now what SAT scorer and JEE is coming with different mindsets. But yes, that they are adding the flavor, because a student who comes with more seriousness, with giving one or two more examination, we feel that he's more serious towards taking the education, and that to a kind of an engineer, which is now not only just engineering. Artificial intelligence is coming so big way that it's even changing the dynamics of the technology. So we really feel the examinations which has that critical angle, which has the mathematical angle, will of course will give an edge over to the students, those who are just coming either with the CBSE or just with the JEE, where they were just doing the physics, chemistry, and mathematics sort of a stuff. So I think in the coming maybe a year or two, I will be in a better position to give you that kind of a differentiating between these two candidates. Thanks from the Bennett University. Thank you, Ankit.
Yeah, I'll jump in, Ankit. So I think we are still constrained by the government and do not take SAT scores. That said, if students have taken the JEE or the state engineering entrance exam and have also taken SATs, it definitely shows their preparation is well done. They are better at also abilities to take other courses, which are in the humanities, which are in management, and they have a broader understanding, ability to read and comprehend. I think that's very critical. In fact, a few years back, NASCOM Foundation came out with a survey which said only 25% of engineers in India are employable. And that percentage now, by a lot of tech experts in India, they believe it's actually much lower than that. And the reason they're not employable is because we are only teaching them problem solving in a particular context. It's not holistic, where they're not learning other skills. They're not learning what is happening in the world around them. They're not reading enough. And this is where I think the SAT has a advantage. That said, we did explore the idea of SATs even last year, and we for engineering, and we actually had some leeway from the government, so we tried that out. But the SATs, the subject tests for SATs were actually are not being offered anymore. So that was one option that at that point of time, the faculty felt that if they'd taken some subject tests in relevant subjects, so physics, chemistry, and maths, then they would be able to substitute and use the SAT subject tests. But the subject tests, I believe, have been closed in India post COVID, and they've also been closed in the US as well. So that's a constraint, and that's where we started thinking about the APs. But I think it's not yet. We've not got there yet.
Yeah, so SAT plus AP subject tests is what we say worldwide, and the universities are doing it. And on a lighter note, I hear great testimonial comments from everybody in the university. So I'll ask Akshay to follow it up with the written testimonial so that we have it on records. But yeah, great information, Parth. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
so
Pat.
Bhakti has something to say, but I just want make one last note, and it's a fun fact. A lot of my students that I know have taken SAT who were looking to study abroad, but have ended up applying to Indian universities and have got accepted as well. So that's a great thing to hear, that it is accepted in India widely. Go ahead, Bhakti.
No, I just want to say that I think SATs are a conduit for way more than just admissions. And this is my personal takeaway from this conversation that one, they are a disruptor in the way students perceive Indian universities, especially that segment that's aspiring to study abroad. And I think SATs can and College Board can make a huge difference along with the universities on how to position the acceptance of SATs and what it means, right? The second thing is the way Indian universities recruit fundamentally can also be evolving. I mean, it's a long way to go because access is an issue in a country like India. SAT prep is not cheap at all. But anyone who's probably preparing for JEs can maybe crack the SATs, I think, perhaps, I'm not sure. And yeah, I think those are my key takeaways that in the next decade or so, at least the next 5 or 7 years, there's a fundamental lack of data to back a lot of the stuff that we're saying right now. That is a huge takeaway as well. So if we were to also focus on gathering evidence on outcomes and impact of recruitment as well as student outcomes once they join university, it makes a much stronger case for SATs. But yeah, I'll rest my case there. And thank you all so much for this evening. And Akshay, over to you.
Oh, thank you so much, Bhakti. I think you both your points uh, all noted down. Rather, I would definitely be reaching out to all the speakers here to get some data and some insightful information out of the students that they have right now, based on their outcome and how they performed and so on. But my only last thing would be what we as a college board are also looking forward to is to make sure that it is the students' lives that get easier. So that's why we keep on saying that one exam in universities is something that we put up, and not just liberal arts and sciences, but a gamut of them do take it for engineering. So that's how we want to be seen, and I'm sure that I will be talking to a lot of you. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'll just drop in my email here before Ashima closes the session. So do write to me or Minakshi. I'm sure we'll be able to take all the questions that you have and we'll try to answer all of those. Thank you so
Also,
much and
the
thank you, PLT.
universities that are here, feel free to put your email on the chat as
Yeah.
well in case somebody wants to get through.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks,
Go ahead,
Akshay.
Ashima.
Thanks, Ashima.
Thank you, everyone, to our esteemed panelists for sharing your valuable insights and experience. I'm sure your perspective has really helped not just counselors, but also SAT prep, companies to understand the depth and the penetration of SAT in Indian market. And of course, we are looking forward to part B of this as well, where we're talking about international universities and their acceptance with SAT. And let's see where it goes from there. Right, Bhakti?
No, that's it. Part B is coming for sure. Promise. That's a absolute dead set promise. We're doing a part B with international universities. It'll be very interesting to see the juxtaposition, and then we'll also do a round table to analyze both the parts. Because why not? But thank you all so much, Parth, Dr. Mac, Arpit, Harsh, Hitangshi. Thank you for coming here today. Thank you for speaking to everyone and staying whole 20 minutes after the session is over. I know it's way over time. So thank you all so much. And we will share the recording with all of you. And we'll also share the participants' information with you because I do think that you should know who was there and listening in. So thank you so much for being here
Bhakti, our
today.
ritual, we need to take a selfie.
Oh, okay. Oh, if you insist, all right.
Who's taking it?
But
I
who's
don't
doing
know.
it? We're all doing this. Then who's? I'll take this. Hold on. I'll take the screenshot. All right. Uh, Everyone wants to switch on their cameras. Whoever is here, you want to get on the selfie. You want to get on the screen fee, as I call it. Yes, switch on your cameras. Awesome. Giving it another 2 seconds. Okay. All right. Smile. Okay, we're done. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Okay, thank
everyone.
you,
Thank you
everybody.
all.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
TUC.
Bye.
Ashima.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Bhakti.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you all.
Bye. Bye, Parth. I think some people have just logged in and not left. Wait, let me remove them. Siddhanti. Why would you not switch on your camera during the session is my question.
Recording बंद करो.
Oh, हाँ,